Well, hey, man, it's great to meet you. You got such a great energy, great background. And before we dig into all of that, I want to know, how did you survive the last 3.5 years getting through COVID? How did you get through it? And how has it changed you?
Okay, well, first of all, I was semi-retired, so it didn't affect my work very much. Except I did have a business. It was an event center, like for weddings and parties and things. And of course, that shut down,
Yeah,
and that was very expensive. And so I had to cancel some travel plans. I knew a couple of people who died due to COVID. And so, I would say it was a sad time. You just couldn't connect with people the way that, you know, I was used to connecting with people. And
yeah,
so,
yeah. It was a rough time. So let's get to the essence. I know you're retired, but you still have a lot going on. So I'm going to put you in front of a bunch of third grade kids. It's career day. And one of the curious little kids looks up and says, "What do you do for a living?" How do you answer that child?
okay, well, I guess it depends on which life they're talking about.
Right. That's what I was gonna say. We'll string it together like a bunch of little paper dolls.
Yeah, well, for right now, I would say I just wrote a children's book. And so my immediate answer would be, well, I write books for kids. And so that would be one answer if you want to go back a little more in history. Or I also currently help people. I have a business called Generous Vision, which is consulting with people on philanthropy. So to a third grader, I would say I help people figure out how they can give more and give better.
Excellent.
And before that, I was a financial planner for my career. And to a third grader, well, I help people manage their money so that they can reach the goals that they have in life.
And I think all of them would love each of those. So I think you would be a fan favorite of all of them. What did you want to be in the third grade? What was your dream to grow up and become?
I think in the third grade, I wanted to be a garbage man. Yes.
Awesome.
I like to dumpster dive, and, other people's junk was my treasure.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's funny you just said that. I'm looking for, obviously, it's Christmas time, and I found a really great frame. And I'm going up to the frame thinking everything's fine. And the biggest pit bull is on a chain. And like every hair went up my spine. I'm like, I'm out of here. But I think I'm going to work up my courage here in a minute and go back. I think I can do this. So, speaking of dumpster diving, my son's on the spectrum. And when he was a kid, there was something about the trash men that would intrigue him. And I read online that there was a lot of kids on the spectrum that loved him. So he went out one day and had a trash truck and gave it to one of the dudes, and the dude signed it. And I could just see on his face it was the greatest day of his life. It was great. So um so where were you born and raised? How did all of this be there's a lot of things that go into who you are. How did these
Sure.
seeds get planted to grow into who you are?
Yeah. Well, I was born in Georgia because my dad was in the military, but I grew up in the St. Louis area. And basically, my whole life until I went to college, I was in the St. Louis area.
Okay. So did you get to Kansas City at that time? Have you spent any time here?
I haven't lived in Kansas City. I went to college at Oral Roberts University in Tulsa. And when
Okay.
I graduated from there, I came to KU in Lawrence to study architecture, which I didn't complete. But then I got stuck in Kansas.
Lawrence is a great town though. I've
It
always had a
is.
great time there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So talk to me a little bit about who have been some heroes for you? Who have been inspirations?
Hmm. Well, so Mahatma Gandhi is one of my heroes, and so is Mother Teresa, and so is a guy called S- I forget his Sundar. Oh my gosh, Singh,
Yeah, I know.
Sadhu Sundar Singh,
Yeah.
who was an Indian mystic,
Yeah.
and so I guess all those are from India, even though I have no Indian heritage in me.
Yeah.
Those are some of my heroes.
If you can meet anybody alive on the planet right now, who would it be? Who would you love to meet and talk to?
That's alive right now?
Yeah.
Um, Probably Obama.
Yeah. I would join
Yeah.
you. I'd love to meet
Mhm.
him too. Yeah.
Yeah.
What would be the first thing you would ask him?
Um, I would like to know what was it like to be president?
Yeah.
Especially when there's so much opposition, no matter who is president, there's always a lot of opposition. How do you handle that?
Yeah. Yeah. So, what is it for you every day that you wake up? You're obviously very highly driven. What gets you out of bed? What gets you moving? What gets you helping people? Obviously, with philanthropy and all of these other things that you do, you're in the business of helping people. What is that motivation for you?
I think it's that I hope that today maybe I can do something, maybe just a little something that will help somebody else, maybe bring a little bit of hope or opportunity or a smile to their face, a little joy, something like that.
So, what's been the best advice you've ever gotten?
I think don't define yourself by your failures.
Yeah. What's been one of the best success stories you've been involved with, especially in the realm of philanthropy and helping people?
Yes, so I had my own financial planning business until I retired. And as a business, we decided to adopt a village in India. And it was a village of about 6,000 people. And we worked with a nonprofit that was located in India, which took a holistic approach, education, healthcare, and so on. And um, it really made a difference. They kept metrics, and the biggest statistic that has stuck with me is that at the beginning of when they started to work, there'd been a suicide once every 2 weeks on average. And by the end of a 5 year term, that's how long we worked with them, there had been one suicide in 2 years. And so that tells me that we did something to help bring hope to those people.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
So, talk to me a little bit about what are you the proudest of all these things that you've done? What's the thing that stands out that you're the proudest of?
I think that's it, what I just
Yeah,
shared.
yeah.
Mhm.
So, did you always have a dream of writing a children's book?
No, no. That was like a complete surprise to me a couple years ago.
That's great. So, what's the reception been?
It's been really good. People have loved the stories. It's actually a trilogy here. I'm gonna hold it up here so your viewers can see it.
Yeah,
Maybe if it will
let's see.
focus. Let's see. How's that?
It's
I
still a
don't know.
little blurry. Um,
Yeah, that's because of how I have my Zoom setting, I
yeah,
guess. It doesn't recognize it.
yeah.
Anyhow, it's called Children of the Great Light, a trilogy for young kids teaching healthy spiritual concepts. And so it's three stories. Um, and uh, the people who have read it and reviewed it for me have said those are great. They're very simple, direct, they're meaningful, good positive message.
So, let's say you have a dream tonight. You run into a 20-year-old version of you, and you could give that young version of you a piece of advice based on the life you've lived, the wisdom you've gained. What advice would you give to your younger self?
Don't pay too much attention to what other people think. Just do whatever you want to do. Follow your heart.
So, if you could get into a time machine and go back in time and see any event in human history, where are you going to go? What do you want to see with your own eyes?
I would love to go back to the time when Jesus was crucified and resurrection and just kind of see what was really going on there.
Yeah. So, what's the greatest thing about living in Lawrence?
Oh, you got it's a small town. So you got a small town atmosphere, but you're close to Kansas City. So when you need the big town stuff, that's great. You've got KU and the Jayhawks. Um, and that's always fun.
Yeah, for sure. So everyone out there has a perception of you, family, friends, all of the, clients and colleagues, everybody that you've known in your life. But you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
I think I am a creative person who is accepting, um, and adventuresome, and I like to think outside the box.
Right on. If anyone wants to pick up the book, if anyone wants to reach out to you, get involved with your retirement world that you're in right now, where's the best place to go?
So, well, there's a website for the book called childrenofthegreatlight.com. Can go there and find out how to order it, which you can order it on Amazon. Also, for my philanthropic consulting business, it's called generousvision.com. And so you can find me there.
Excellent. This has been wonderful, Wayne. I'm glad we caught up. It was a long time in the making for everybody out there to understand this, so we finally came together. Thank you for your story. Thank you for your time. Have a great holiday season.
Thank you. And you too, Joe. I appreciate it. I'm glad
Yes.
we were.